Hey folks, welcome back to The Stitch Up. Now, as you might have seen in the previous episode, this is the reboot, the remix, the season 2 shake-up that always happens, and Felicity cuts her hair short and everyone stops watching. But
who's cut their hair?
But
who's Felicity?
Yeah, you don't remember Felicity?
No.
There was that J.J. Abrams show from years ago, the curly hair.
Should I watch it?
No, you shouldn't.
Okay.
Now, with the Stitch Up remix or reboot or download, or whatever it is now, season 2, it's movie appreciation. We're going to be appreciative of the art that we have available to us, whether it's shit or not. We're going to get together with some of my nearest and dearest, as you can see, Hugo, Farrant, back again, from the award-winning 3-part episode 3 of the original Stitch Up, the Batman vs Superman Odyssey, I think we went on.
Prequilogy.
The prequilogy.
Yeah. Which
is a word now. That was probably our most popular episode, bar none. So I thought I'd come back and I said unto Hugo, what would you like to talk about? And he said unto me, I want to talk about Mad Max Fury Road.
What are you doing? Praying. To who? Anyone that's listening.
So, Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
Why oh why?
Why oh why, yeah. Or how oh how is probably more apt, because how the hell did Mad Max Fury Road get made? Other movies, in my opinion, pale in comparison. Other movies of the 21st century.
I agree.
Just
other movies of the last 10 or 15 years.
Right, and you can really pick your genre of that, because is it,
porno!
There's a pornographic element to it. It's a feast for the eyes.
It really, really is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, and it's excessive. Let's take it, let's just run with it. Sure, porno, why not? It's a better porno.
It should have been Mad Max with 3 X's.
Damn! And for George Miller to arrive back at this franchise, age 70, and this has been said, this is nothing that hasn't been said before, and produce, let's just say it in its most basic level, an action movie, sci-fi action movie, what do you want to call it? Sci-fi action opera movie?
Dystopian, futuristic clusterfuck movie? I don't
right,
know, yeah.
and not just produce a better action movie than anyone half or quarter his age has produced in their whole career, or in the intervening 25 years, or since Die Hard, I reckon. I would say it's the best. I'd say it's pretty much the best action movie since Die Hard. Potentially better than Die Hard.
Okay, let's not go too far. There's a fantastic scene with one of the brides, the one with the platinum blonde hair. She's got a really great name.
She's got a really Aussie name. It's something like Goonbag. It's something so Aussie. It's something so Aussie.
And there's a magnificent scene that she has with when they finally get back to Furiosa's people, and there's the old lady with the motorbike, and she shows her all the seeds that she's got, and the old lady's like, I'll shoot him right in the back here, in the amygdala, or whatever it is, the mango chutney, or whatever you've got back here that shoots, straight shot, whatever. And then she's got this beautiful line, the bride, where she turns and says, I thought you women out here were above that, or something, or beyond that. And I know people have attacked it for this, but I think it's a really powerful movie in terms of its portrayal of women and female strength on screen.
And various. Like there's lots and lots of female characters, and they're not just one type of character.
No.
Even within the context of the bride slaves, sex slaves who are there, there's 5 of them or however many there are that we see. They each have their own personality.
And it's funny seeing the actress you were saying before, Splendid, the main bride, the one that Immortal Joe loves, the one who's pregnant. Absolutely stunningly beautiful woman. She's only been in one other thing.
Yeah.
Transformers 3, right, where it's almost, in terms of like showing the differences between like feminine archetypes.
Yes.
It's the polar opposite. The opening shot is a Michael Bay tracking shot of her ass.
Right, you got it.
Like you were saying, the melding and the mixings of genre.
Right. And so any one of those things that it is, including an action movie, it's one of the best examples of it. In an ideal world, there would be a few movies like this every year, and there's only been one in the last 25 years where the storm is perfect and a singular vision that is achieved on the screen impeccably and dazzlingly. Like, it's just staggering achievement.
I've been in the filmmaking industry for long enough to know where the tricks are, and I actively avoided watching special features for this thing because I don't want to know. I don't want the magic to get taken away from this thing. Like, I could see the stitching and where the CG was used and some really great overexposure to shoot day for night and, the technical stuff, the stuff of, how you make filmmaking happen, the speeding up, the ramping up of frame speeds and framing people dead center as well, so that because there's so much furious action, if you were to frame people to the left or the right, or like we're being framed like now, to the left or to the right, but if you're right in the middle, like that, your focus is immediately drawn there. Right. And that's why the cinematographer who came out of retirement to do this, he was a cinematographer on an alarming amount of stuff. I was looking it up last night and I've completely forgotten his back catalogue, but like Rain Man and shit.
So other reasons why I think it stands out, for me, got the sense that I was watching the first movie that I've ever watched in my life that had the tightness of structure on two different aspects that I want to mention of a good comic book. The type of comic books that we hold in highest regard, the Alan Moores, the Grant Morrisons of this world. Mm-hmm. And the two aspects are in the micro and in the macro, because in the micro it's the kind of things that you're talking about those action scenes being so flawlessly laid out that your eye is just drawn through them, in exactly the same way that a comic book artist and comic book writer collaborating together have to draw you through a page. There is a tightness of every individual arc, tiny little arcs. Now, I see Fury Road as a collection of a couple of hundred arcs, given however many minor characters there are, and major arcs, given the major characters. And each arc is impeccably realized. You have the character arrive, and that character, in terms of screen time, might only be alive. If, like, they arrive, they do something, they die. Yeah. For about 40 seconds. And yet, their motivation arriving is so clear. We can see exactly what they want. Okay, you might say, oh, well, that's obvious. They want to kill the hero. But how do they want to kill them? What are they aiming for? What are they trying to do? As soon as they appear on the screen, it's clear. And I'll give an example of that, a stupid example. The guys who suddenly appear who are like dangling, and they appear kind of, they draw in from the sides of the frame, and they're suddenly in the chase, and they're spinning back and forth like that. And the first thing you see is this ticking like a metronome of these people, and you're like, what the fuck is that? And then all of a sudden they're in play. Yeah. And they're in play, and there's like half a dozen of them doing this thing, and they're using these motor counterweighted engine blocks. Yeah. Like beautiful, like engine blocks, of course, in this society. What else would it possibly be? Something that heavy as an engine block, just dangling over, so that they can get onto the truck, so that they can use their various weaponry to hijack the vehicles. That's what they're aiming for, and then they get vanquished. And so that's tight. That's fucking tight. Like how you bring these guys in. We've never seen them before, but within like a few seconds of seeing them, we understand exactly what they're trying to do. And it's clever, and it's something we've never seen before. Then it gets down to the macro level, or up to the macro level, because everybody has this crazy level of design in their costume to create these characters, to create this like couple of hundred different characters whose whole life story is written in their costume. It's a perfect example of show don't tell.
So what you're saying is that basically George Miller's largest influence for Mad Max Fury Road was a Where's Wally book.
Possibly.
Just in terms of level of detail. Yeah. I mean, you're at a beach scene, where's Wally? I don't know where he is. There's the wizard, there's the scroll, there's the dog, there's the female version of Wally, and then there's the shark attack going on over here,
Right.
and there's the guys over here who are lifting weights. Then there's the guy who's lost his hat because someone's stolen it, and they're up the road getting an ice cream. Or
it's like Where's Wally combined with with an incredibly intricate Rube Goldberg, who created these intricate pictures of impossible machines which carry out menial tasks, and they work. You can follow them, and it will be something menial like boiling an egg, or how a crazy scientist wakes up in the morning.
like the start of Back to the Future.
Okay, precisely.
Yeah.
Yes, but like on a way more complicated level is the Rube Goldberg stuff.
I was talking to a friend of mine about Rogue One,
Yes.
and he asked me if I liked it, and I said, "Oh, it was all right, whatever." And another guy who was with us said, "Oh, it was fucking shit heap." And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Oh, it was just a completely unnecessary movie." And I was like, "Unnecessary movie? There's 5 Transformer movies, right? Like, now those films are the epitome of Hollywood decadence. They've got all the money in the world. They've got nothing to say. The films are 3 hours long,
And then they don't make sense.
and then they don't make sense anyway.
So they don't make sense. They're feeding you every little step of the way something that doesn't hang together. Like it's just and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. There's no why it happens or but this happens. Now this is we could bring up a picture of Trey Parker and Matt Stone, because this is their masterclass. They basically say that if you put your actions together in your narrative and they're linked by and then, that's a fail.
Yeah.
You failed in writing. But if it's instead, it's like this happens and therefore this happens, but then this happens, and therefore this happens because of this.
Yeah.
If it's a series of those, then it's a win.
Cause and effect.
Cause and effect, and again, like back to the metaphor of cogs turning. That's exactly what cogs do. They affect each other. They hang together. They move just like the parts of a car, the cylinders of a car, let's say, or a truck or whatever. And that's what's going on in this movie, is incredible discipline of arc of cause and effect. And the beauty of it is that about 70% of the causes which we're seeing the effects of, we didn't see on screen. We have to work them out.
Yeah.
We have to work them out.
Like, you don't see Furiosa's plan to you don't see her smuggle the brides onto the war pig, the war hog. Like any good comic book or any good British comedy series, they don't feed you the joke. They expect you to catch on, and they expect you to be smart enough to almost make up, to follow the punchline to the funnier part of the punchline by yourself. Mad Max does that. Mad Max Fury Road in particular does that because it trusts you to work out the archetypes that you have put in place without having to show you the beginning or ultimate end of this story, because you don't see the end either.
That's true.
Because I don't know if it's like this in the original Mad Max trilogy, but definitely in this one, the Tom Hardy Mad Max, he is the hero on the poster and in name, but he's actually the audience. He's participant in the action that we are participant in, and he gets involved because of the character he is, but he doesn't necessarily have an enormous arc. He kind of stays the same. He appears, this thing happens around him, and he participates, and then he leaves. You don't see the beginning of Furiosa's story or the end of her story, but she's the hero.
It's all here! 3,000 gallons of gasoline, just like you asked.
This was like, I mean, it still holds up now and everything. People don't talk about it as much now. Well, we're talking about it, but at the time, everyone was talking about Mad Max, especially when the Oscars came around, and it kept winning for production awards. It should have, I think it was nominated for Best Director. I don't know if Best Film or whatever.
Best Director was a shoo-in. Whatever else won.
All these Australians kept getting up and winning for Mad Max, and that guy got it. He's like, fucking Mad Maxes! We have a fantastic film industry in this country, and it's utilised really well, and sometimes it doesn't get the props that it should. And to see these people I mean, $150 million movie. This was no small Australian film, but it still had the spirit of an independent Australian film, the way that the original did, and to see it get the accolades it was fantastic. Regardless of whether you like it or not, you've got to appreciate the landmark etching it has made in cinema history.
Astonishing. I've got the prequel comic book here, which is, I want to mention this later on, but I want to mention it now as well. It's a sumptuous comic book. It's beautiful, and I guess like there's two reasons I want to mention this. First of all, to give props to Mark Sexton, who was the storyboard artist for Mad Max, and I really think that
this shit's signed.
Yeah, I met Mark at the comic book. I can bring a picture up. I met Mark.
That's awesome.
Great guy, a really, really amazing artist, and he comes through a heritage of 2000 AD.
He's one of the Future Shock boys.
He's a Judge Dredd alumnus.
Oh, you can tell by the work too.
It's astonishing work. He's amazing, and you know. So, first up, I want to give Mark absolute props and separate him from later on in this episode. I want to talk about things that I don't like about Mad Max, the problems that I have with it, Mad Max Fury Road, and some of it's going to involve this guy here, but that has nothing to do with your work, Mark. Okay.
Be cool if he's watching.
It would be great. I'm going to send it to him.
Mark.
Hi, Mark. And so the reason that I mention that is double because you know that's the reason why. That's another reason why it's such a comic book movie. I should have mentioned that before. Is that it's storyboarded by a legendary comic book artist, absolute legend in the field, and it shows. And the reason I mention this now is that I don't see this. This is the thing that's like supposed to tie everything together and give you the beginnings. I don't like that. The thing that I love about the Fury Road is that you don't know where everything's come from, and that's why George and whoever is in charge of the franchise, please don't do any prequel stuff. One
quick question. On the IMDb trivia, it said George Miller has locked in Tom Hardy for 2 more. I just wanted to know, like, when you were talking about, please don't do prequels.
Please don't do prequels.
Do you want to see the next adventure of Mad Max? Because it's going to have nothing to do with Furiosa, nothing to do with the brides, nothing to do with this story.
Yes.
He's basically kung-fuing his way, kung-fu being the old 70s or 60s TV show, kung-fuing his way, having, going around the world, having adventures. Yeah. That kind of guy.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I want to see.
Yeah, good.
That's exactly what I want to see.
2 more of those, please.
Exactly.
You're sitting on 2,000 horsepower of nitro-boosted war machine.
You want to get through this?
Here's Hugos Reasons why people think Fury Road is not good.
No, this is what people say online.
What people say. Here's Hugo. Let him explain.
Here's the things that people say online.
That aren't good
reasons why Fury Road is not excellent. Number 1, it's just a long chase. So what? It's what it's designed to be. It's the chase. It's giving you the, instead of, as you said before, instead of showing you the beginning and the end of the plot line, it's letting you imagine these things. It's setting them up flawlessly. It's written them all, but it's just showing you one part of it. It's a beautiful middle chapter in a story, and you get to just revel in that.
It's all second act.
All second act. Number 2, it's called Mad Max, but it's all about Furiosa. You already covered this one somewhat. Yeah. Well, that's also a good thing. We have Max showing up in a situation and being dragged into it, not voluntarily. He's got to get out of it. He's just trying to escape as well, and he encounters some other people who are trying to escape. That's a beautiful thing. That's a good thing. It not being about Mad Max, forget the fact that the people who it's also or more about are women. Forget that. That's not important. The fact that it's not about Max, he's witnessing it and he's sucked into this plot line and becomes integral to it. That's beautiful narratively. That's an astonishing thing to pull off in your movie and should be applauded, not critiqued. Number 3, hardly any dialogue. That's not a critique at all. The fact that this movie unfolds with that little dialogue is an achievement unto itself. I just cannot stand the tropes of action movies where the villain has to monologue at the end and reveal their plan, and then the hero has to monologue too, and somehow they're in some bloody dialectic at the end, and they have to confront each other on that level. It's like, guys, this is ridiculous.
This coming from a guy who really likes the Matrix films.
I forgive the Matrix films, and that is the thing which I think you're talking about the architect in particular.
No, actually, I'm actually talking about
the Oracle.
The conversation before the Burley Brawl where Agent Smith is like, "I'm different, I'm new.
I've changed, I'm unplugged, a new man, so to speak, like you, apparently free. Congratulations. Thank you."
And then someone steps on a tomato and 4?
Yeah, fourth one's a small one, tiny one. The name Imperator Furiosa. Imperator.
Does she have a first name?
No, she has a title. See, this is the point.
Okay, right.
Imperator. I saw someone post online, great movie, guys, but Imperator is the masculine form of Imperator. It should be Imperatrix. Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay, do you get for a second that, firstly, these filmmakers are clever. They don't make a mistake like that. She's a female who's managed to rise through the ranks in a patriarchal system. Hence, she still has, as presumably other people of her rank or predecessors, if there's only one of them at any one time, have had the title of Imperator, because she's probably the first ever female one. It's making a point, you guys. It's making a point that she's a female in what is traditionally, presumably, we can presume, a male role in a patriarchal society.
There's always got to be someone. With just a little, even that's not really having great movie, guys, but here's the thing. I love that voice you just did too. That's what the internet sounds like to me. Hey, oh yeah, great. But really, it's actually this and this and this and blah blah blah. It's
I noticed something.
Yeah, when I did
actually what I love doing all the time. I'm guilty of it.
You're right. I noticed something.
Oh, I noticed something. Actually, I noticed something that you didn't notice.
I noticed something that no one else has ever noticed before because I'm the most of all the noticers.
I'm the noticer. And I'm going to post about it. I'm the noticer of post about it. Last section is things that I, as the correct person, don't like about Mad Max. The very few things.
Okay.
So these are the 3 things that I dislike.
Now, as I said, nothing negative. It's all beautiful. We're just saying they're just opinions.
Yeah, this is just my opinions. And we talked about it earlier. The score, Junkie XL.
You didn't like it?
I didn't. I thought it was okay, but fundamentally, especially in the part with the Duff Warrior, just not heavy enough. It needed to be metal. Mad Max Fury Road might be apart from being, I think, a comic book movie, it might be one of the most metal
movies of all time.
The guitarist on the war rig, the Duff Warrior rig, needed to be playing metal riffs. It needed shredding. It needed basically, I'm not a huge metal fan. It needed to sound like Dimmu Borgir. That's what it needed to sound like. I'm
glad we don't have to try and spell that word.
Insert tiny clip of Dimmu Borgir, Progenies of the Great Apocalypse. That would have been better sound for this movie. Yeah. And by the way, Australia, as well as having a grand history of cinema, has a grand history of raw, hardcore black and death metal.
Yeah. And
it would have been very, very easy to incorporate some of that.
Sure.
Even a band like, they're fucking great. A band like Parkway Drive or Thy Art Is Murder, any of these Aussie bands. And that brings me to the next point. Because why didn't they get an Aussie to do the music? Why are there so many non-Aussies in it?
Actors, right?
Yeah, actors. Why? I think Furiosa you can justify because I really don't think that anyone could have done a better job. But
you could have switched her out. Megan Gale actually appears as one of the Furiosa's people.
Wonderful.
She could have been in it. She had some kick-ass moves there and then got run over, man.
Great.
You know, she was supposed to be Wonder Woman. Because back in the early 2000s,
she'd have been perfect.
Before the big writer's strike, George Miller was supposed to direct the Justice League movie here in Sydney. Not here, I'm not in Sydney, but in Australia, in Sydney. And they had the costume test for her and everything. They're online. And George Miller was going to direct a Justice League movie. And it was going to happen. Justice League... And then there was a one-word title. I can't remember. Justice League Humanity or... No, Justice League Mortal, it was called. Check it out. I think there might even be a script online. And that was supposed to happen, and then bang.
Wait a second, George Miller was going to do it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Ah, fuck, sorry, man.
Yeah.
Missed that detail.
The huge detail.
Oh, fuck, well, anything George Miller would have done. Last point is just the timeline, and this really has no bearing on it. But again, this is back to the comic book. Well, I want to ask you, Regan. How long before the events of Fury Road do you reckon that the nuclear fallout happened?
How long will it take to get to that point? 20 years? 30 years, maybe?
Okay, so that's where...
For all the resources to be depleted,
right,
and for them to be, like, actively going out and having to search for water and petrol and mother's milks and, you know, lizards with two heads. For species to evolve to that point through, you know, Godzilla-like circumstances.
Yeah.
Probably, a generation at least. Like, you know...
Like 20
or 30 years.
Yeah. So I think that in this, the implication is that it's been about... and this is just a guess, but I'd say about 12 to 15 years.
Okay.
My beef is that 15 or 15 or so years, 15 or even 20 as an estimate, is too short. Far too short.
Scientifically, for the effects of nuclear fallout.
No, not the effects of nuclear fallout. For the subsequent social changes.
Oh, right,
And the level of construction and stratification of society and functionality to have returned to society to the level that it has. That you've got these three kind of cities or towns: Gastown, Bullet Town, and the Citadel, functioning in this kind of triumvirate. Symbiosis.
It's like Waterworld.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's these little atolls everywhere.
Glad you said Waterworld.
I love Waterworld. I'm sorry, I have such a wonderful...
It's a good movie.
The opening, if you took out that opening, you know, the future... I just sounded like the Mandarin then. The polar ice caps have melted, and then, you know, the world has turned to... It has truly become... a water world, and then the title comes out. If you fucked all that off and you just started, bang, opened on Kevin Costner pissing in his tree, and didn't explain anything the way that this doesn't, 10% better movie,
right?
Straight away.
And
I'm so sorry. People, you can go mental at me all you want. I am unashamedly and unabashedly adore Waterworld. Kevin Costner with gills? Shut the fuck up. That is fantastic.
The future. The polar ice caps have melted, and the Earth lies beneath a watery grave.
How fucking good is Dennis Hopper?
Amazing, and he calls everyone cousins. It's really Mad Max on the water.
It is,
and in the same, even more so like this, Kevin Costner's character, the Mariner, doesn't have a name.
Right.
He's just the Mariner, and he leaves Jean Triplehorn and that little girl to get raped by that crazy guy, you know. We're talking about ransom, that guy, you know, the fucking crazy Irish guy. Oh man, he's awesome. I'll throw him up here so I don't just seem insane. You know.
There's no such thing as no for sale, no for sale, no for sale. Paper! Have you ever seen paper? Look at it. Smell it.
And you know, he leaves it to, like, he trades the two women for, you know, fishing rod, and the woman gets the fishing rod. He goes, yeah, I like that rod. It's my favourite rod. I liked it. It was a good rod. And, you know, he gets paper and stuff, and then, you know, obviously has a change of heart and ends up killing the guy so that he doesn't hurt these two women. But really, he's a dick.
Yeah.
He throws the little girl overboard and yells at her for stealing his crayons, and then he gets into the big fight, and at the end he comes up, and, you know, Dennis Hopper's there, and you know, he's like, you know, why are you going through this? He's about to blow up the guy's entire ship, and he's like, you know, what's so important about the girl? And he's like, she's my friend. It's It's beautiful. I love it.
Good movie.
Kevin Costner, Dennis Hopper, Gene Triplehorn, Waterworld.
So
That brings us to the end of
That's
that
it.
chapter. Yeah, that's
That's-
all we
we're
want to say
done.
about Mad Max Fury Road. Watch it on a decent system, guys.
Yeah.
Don't, you know, if you're one of the torrenty type people, sorry to say it, but if you get a 720p copy and you watch it on your laptop or you watch it on a plane, take this as you will. You might say that means it's not as good a movie as people claim, but I'm sorry to say you are not judging it on its proper merits. This should be a movie that should be experienced in a decent cinema, and for that reason it should be, in my opinion, brought back every couple of years to the cinema for people to experience again. Because that experience of watching it in a decent cinema, like one of those X screen cinemas with the good sound, the good bass, is an overwhelming experience.
one thing I would look out for, recommend in Melbourne, you've got the Astor. I love it there. The Astor's great, and they do awesome double bills, and it's always old prints and old movies.
Okay, great.
Like they do a calendar every 3 or 6 months. I'm not sure. You might have to check that, but I'm sure just check online for new Astor calendar, whatever. Surely at some stage they'll be throwing up Mad Max Fury Road in a 70mm edition, or they might throw it up with a double bill of the original Mad Max, or maybe they'll do it as a 4.
Waterworld, Fury Road.
Oh my God! That would be one of the best nights of my life.
That's good.
And oh man, I'm so happy.
What a lovely day!
I hope you enjoyed the new stitch up, the all positive, all hearts and smiles stitch up.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up for Mad Max Fury Road. Go and check it out. Thanks very much, folks. Thanks, Hugo.
Cheers, sir.
We'll see you again. Peace.
See you guys.
Bye. They just didn't happen to know they were kidnapping the Road Warrior.
The Road Warrior.
And fucked everybody's day up.
So that's what I reckon is that's how and Immortan Joe's.
Is it Immortan?
Yes.
I've been saying immortal for like an hour, man. Why didn't you correct me?